we see that it went ahead and received that message. Now, in this demonstration, everything I've been doing has been dealing with DNS. But the kind of the important thing to think about on this is that it's not limited to DNS. This is essentially something that can be done with any protocol out there. In this case, I use DNS because it's one of the most common protocols out there, and it's pretty much going to give you access to any system in the network because everything does use DNS and uses it all the time. But you could do this over essentially anything with that Slack space method. And I'm really curious why I actually haven't seen more dealing with that. This does have the downside over other DNS tunnels that it's not going to persist through several layers of DNS servers. It's either going to be point-to-point or it's going to make it through routers and everything that's dealing at the UDP or TCP layer or anything like that. But once you have things interpreting it at the actual application layer, then that tunnel may, or that storage channel may disappear. So that is a downside to it. But it is still a very effective method, especially when you're able to, in most cases, set your own DNS servers and tell it where you actually want it to point to. So it's really pretty powerful in that aspect. And that's really about all I have. So I'm open to any questions you have, and thanks for listening to the talk. Yeah. Say that again? Then it'll just simply backlog it and store it in that linked list until it actually does see the traffic. Yeah. You can either give it a PCAP file and it'll strip out all the domains for you, or you can just give it a file of domains that are going through the network. Yeah. Yeah. For which application here? For which architecture are you talking about? Yeah. You should be able to do it any way you want. In this case, I programmed the system to do it to a specific domain because you're typically going to only have control of one domain out there or be able to listen to one. But I mean, you could just as easily take that check out of the code and have it just exfiltrate the data to any domains being visited. So I mean, there's no specific requirement for that. I'm not sure if that's what you're asking or not. Yeah, they don't care about domains because your broker's typically always going to be what the client is sending its traffic to, like an internal DNS server, something like that. Like it's primarily say there's 5 or 6 owned box in a network, and you're wanting them to communicate, so they're not all trying to zip a file out and exfiltrate it. Maybe they all want to collaborate in some way. You're basically assuming that they're going to see each other's traffic in some way. Let me think. I don't think does DNS have the sequence number? It has the ID number. I think that may be the same thing. Yeah, I think, what's her name? I can't think of it, but I know which one you're talking about. It is very possible. It's a much lower bandwidth is the problem. You can get very little data. You're able to use that. There's a lot of flags in DNS you're able to use, and all of these they're going to get you a few bits here and there, a few bits per packet. Whereas like subdomains, you can get 200 bytes out in a subdomain, or in a lot of the responses, you can get 400, 500 bytes out of it. Or if you use the eDNSO extension, you can get a lot more than that. So really, you just have to give up on those kind of tunnels and just not even worry about trying to find them, essentially, because there's bigger fish to fry, I guess is the thing to say on that. that it? Thank you.